So what we're going to do now is welcome to the stage a couple of the gentlemen that were in the National Official Scholarship Program, and as you heard Alan eloquently say how much it's changed his career and the decision-making process from swimming. We're also going to be joined by Donovan Kosh, who is a cricket umpire who did his first Big Bash League this year. And I'm going to start with you, Donovan, and if you could just share a little bit of your story of how you got involved in officiating and where you've ended up now.
Thanks, Chris. Good evening, everyone. My journey started as a player. I played first-class cricket in South Africa. I played cricket in the UK as well in the summers of both continents. Finished playing in South Africa, met my wife, or wife-to-be, and we settled in the UK. I carried on playing, and I just got into my second to last season, and the enjoyment wasn't there anymore. I spoke to a few friends of mine, and they just said, "What's going on?" And I said, "I'm just not enjoying it anymore." And one of the friends is Richard Kettlerow, who's an international umpire, and he said, "Have you thought about umpiring?" And I laughed at him because I was an umpire hater as a player. Couldn't stand umpires. I tried to use him and abuse him as much as I could to my advantage. And I said, "No, I've got to think about this one," because I wasn't comfortable with that idea. When I spoke to my wife, I finished up playing that season. And then decided I'll play one more season. But during the season I took my umpiring course, did my level 1 as you call it. Played on a Saturday, and the Sundays I didn't play. I umpired other leagues where I weren't playing in. So I didn't feel comfortable umpiring in the same league as I was playing. It all went well, and then I got a phone call from the England Cricket Board at the end of the season saying, "How serious are you about umpiring?" And it came out of the blue. And I said, "I'm not sure." And they just said, "Well, if you're serious, you need to pack up your cricket career, because we think you've got a pathway in umpiring." So I spoke to Richard, spoke to my family, and that was it. One more season, and then umpiring. And then my wife got a job opportunity in Australia, and 5 years ago we moved here, and I brought all the qualifications over and started umpiring here, and they started me in 6th grade. So I started rock bottom over here, and it took a few seasons to get to 1st grade, and then I've gone through the pathway of the Australian pathway, and I'm fortunate now to be at the supplementary panel. So we've got 12 on the national panel, and there's 6 of us on the supplementary panel, development panel as they call it. So I'm on the up at the moment, which is nice.
How do you feel about umpiring now, or umpires?
The view of officiating has changed.
You don't need their eyes checked.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. The players think I need a checking, but no, my view on umpires, referees, any official has changed immensely. I'm a big rugby lover as well, and I used to throw things at the TV because of referees. It was always the umpire's fault, it was always the referee's fault, and it's all changed now. Even so now, when I watch my son play soccer, I sit in my hands, I sit like this, and I sit on the chair and I don't move because I'm too scared to actually say something to the officials, because I don't think they deserve it.
Been a big learning curve. Well, I'd like to explore a little bit now with both of you the importance of mentoring. Everybody's mentioned it. I think everybody will agree that it's very beneficial. But talk to us about you've been mentored, Alan, and now you are mentoring others. What has it taught you about your officiating by now starting to mentor others? And I'm really, where I'm coming from is I want the audience to understand the benefits for them to take on a mentoring role.
I suppose one of the big benefits is actually making sure there's a supply of quality up and coming officials that have the skills but also the emotional intelligence to respond to situations as they arise. Will they get things 100% perfect? No, but that's part of the learning. I think you need to talk through what's happened. This is a decision I made. In hindsight, was that the right decision? I think that's probably the big benefit, is making sure that there's up and coming people to fill positions. Because if not, then basically we run the risk of, if we don't have new people coming through, if they're not welcomed into officiating, the people currently in those roles can't stay there forever. So there's going to be a big gap.
So that's the benefit to the sport. What about the benefit to you personally as a mentor?
To me, I really enjoy working with other officials, with new officials. And I suppose it's also teaching me, I don't want to, I'm working with one young official from interstate, and he contacts me regularly, and what I try not to do is tell him, you need to do this and you need to do that. I'll try and talk him through what's the issue, what did you do, why did you do that, how else might you, and try and get him to think through before I start telling them, well, you need to do this. So I suppose it's taught me how to interact with people better, not rush to be the problem solver, but rather the facilitator of the conversation. So.
The other part about this, you're a principal at a very big school. What have been the benefits from learning about officiating that you've been able to bring back into your work environment?
That's a good question too, Chris. Probably one of the things that I've used at officiating, which I've also used at school, is things like I went to Canberra last year to be the mentor for the referees, up and coming referees at a swim meet, and I had one-on-one conversations with them at the end of their session, and I get them to rate how effective was their session on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. How would you rate today's performance? What makes it? So if they said 7, okay, what makes that high? What else makes that high? So get them to focus on the positives, not the negatives. Then the next question will, okay, next time you officiate, what do you want to be on a scale of 1 to 10? Might be 9 out of 10. Okay, what would make it that high? And keep getting them to push out, well, I need to do this and I need to do that. I worked with one guy and he said, look, I was happy with this, but I've realised I need to practice. I get very nervous speaking in front of a group of people. I said, okay, what can you do about that? He said, well, I need to practice. I said, okay, so how would you go about practicing? He said, well, what I need to do is verbalise it. Okay, so how are you going to verbalise it? Well, maybe when I'm shaving in the morning, I'll sit there and give my briefing to the mirror. He came up with that idea himself. That was just me just asking questions, getting to think and think and think. So, and I've used the same kind of process in my work with the teachers at school, getting to talk about, okay, how would you rate the success of this lesson and what would make it better next time. So.
Thank you. Don, are you actually mentoring at the moment?
In Queensland we have our state panel, and then we have a development panel underneath the state panel. So the development panel can choose anybody from the state panel who they want. They can use 2 or 3 guys, they can use a single person. So it's an open door policy. Use us, don't use us, it's up to the individuals. So we do have a policy, even for the first and second graders. Anybody who wants to pick up a phone or meet up for a coffee or a drink, and we just communicate, we just chat about the game. And I think that's the best way to learn about the sport, is to actually just sit down and talk like we are now.
And you're mentioned on the supplementary panel, so you would have aspirations, I would imagine, to go into the senior panel.
Yep.
How do you manage that responsibility to up-and-coming officials under you, the next level down? Is it time-consuming? Is it something you enjoy? Just tell me how you manage that space where you're still driven to go further as an official, but not wanting to neglect your duties in mentoring others.
I've got to give back to the sport, what the sport gave me. So take myself 5 years ago, I was rock bottom at Australian level. So I'd like to think there's hope for everybody that's at the moment at that level, if they want to work hard and succeed, and they get the right mentor, and they get the right help, that they can work their way up to higher levels and higher honours. So for me, I was there. I know what it's like to be there, so I want to help people to come through the ranks.
Great. I'm just aware of time, guys. Don't go away, because I'm going to go to my good colleague, #Ash. Has there been any responses coming through, Ash, that we'll raise? And please also include Lynn and Donna in these questions. We can get them back up using a handheld mic.
There isn't, but if there are, I can.
So is there anybody who would have a question of any of our 4 panellists tonight? Because I can sit here all night, but it's not about me. I want to know what the questions are from the floor. Has anybody got a question?
I can ask a question. Was there any time in your officiating career where you thought you had an incident or something happened, or you just thought, that's it, I've had enough? And if so, how did you deal with that and decide to continue on?
Look, I've had a couple of incidents where I made a call to disqualify. I received a report that a swimmer had made an incorrect touch at a turn. So, like in breaststroke, you have to touch with 2 hands simultaneously. They can't be stacked. It can't be one hand. It must be 2 hands simultaneously. And I got a call, and I questioned the official. And he said, look, it was definitely left-hand touch first, the right hand missed completely by about 25 centimetres. And he said, I was standing right over the top of the turn. I said, okay, right, disqualified. Disqualify the swimmer. I found out at the end of the day when I looked at the video footage that the swimmer had actually made a correct touch with both hands simultaneously. I felt really bad that I'd made a mistake. And I talked to the official about it, and I said, look, there's mistakes been made. Anyway, he was mortified, and he was still worried about it 3 days later. I said, look, no, don't lose sleep over it. We all make mistakes. Just don't make the same mistake again. So if the swimmer had protested, I would have actually looked at the video footage within the half an hour within the regulations, and I would have reinstated him because I've made a mistake. But the swimmer didn't protest, and unfortunately So I suppose what I learned from it is, okay, I did question the official. Maybe I should have questioned a little bit more.
Lynn, you're at the back. Did you have an experience like that? You're a very confident official, you can see that. But did you have an experience where you went, oh my God, questioned yourself?
Yeah.
Great, here comes the mic.
No, I thought I was relaxing down the back. I was hiding down there.
Come up front if you like.
Oh, goodness, okay. I had a situation at the World Series semi-final where in hockey, we're a really technical sport, so it's hard to describe things, but I was working with a colleague who was from China, so English wasn't great, and we have a penalty corner, so it's where the defending team only have 5 players to defend, and the attacking team gets to push the ball out and basically have a legal shot goal. If an attacking player breaks into the circle before the ball leaves the back line, they actually have to go back to halfway. They can be replaced, but they go back to halfway. And what actually happened in that instance was I had to manage. You have to watch for the defender's break, you have to watch for the push out, you have to watch the shot, you have to watch everything, and there was a player out wide. And it was my colleague's responsibility to tell me by the mic if she broke. I saw movement, but didn't get anything from my colleague. And it was Belgium v India, the ball went out, shot on goal, this, that, the other, goal, scored. And India then, I'm like, yeah, great goal, moving back to halfway, and then I got surrounded by India. No, 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 no! And I'm like, and they've got a very short time, and English wasn't great from any of the Indians, even though the captain's meant to have English. And my third umpire, who was a New Zealand colleague, in my ear said, they're saying there was a break on the circle, they're saying there's a break on the circle. So we went to a video referral. And what had actually happened, and they changed the rule because of this, what had actually happened, so I love being a groundbreaker. What had actually happened, the attacking player had overbalanced into the circle but had come back out. So yeah, technically she should have gone back. But you know we were talking about the 3 C's? Common sense. The ball had gone out, gone wide, and had gone in that side of the goal. So she had no influence on the goal. Now my third colleague, my third umpire who was making the decision up top, said no goal, replay the corner. So then in my head, I'm going, can't say that. Sugar, I made the wrong decision. You're at an elite tournament where you've got then the Indian coach, who was an ex-Australian, the bugger, in your ear. He made the, blah, 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 everything else. And as it turned out, Belgium came back to win that game, so it's kind of competitive. But it really challenged me psychologically because I questioned myself. After the game, I walked off. I was demoralised because I felt I'd let the team down. The Indian coach and the Belgian coach were furious with me, even though it actually wasn't my responsibility, but the coaches don't know that. You know, talking before about the coaching. And so then I went to my debrief and we had the conversation, and then Richard, who was head of the third umpires, came down and said to me, that was incorrect. It had no influence on the goal. It should have been a goal and you were right. And I'm like, but that's not what happened out on the field. And so what actually came out of that was, as much as I questioned my sanity, one of the umpires managers, Jean Duncan from Scotland, took me aside 2 days later because I was punishing myself, and just took me aside and said, you're not let, because I said, I've let the team down, and that's how I felt. And she said, because there were high-level officials at that top tournament in the world, and she said, you haven't let the team down, and she talked me through. And after that, I was okay. And what actually came out of that tournament was, in those particular instances of high-level tournaments, is if a player overbalances and steps back out and they don't influence the play, it's a goal. Yeah!
Like a can of worms, here comes Donna.
I'd just like to say that I'm good. I'm the same height anyway. As a line umpire, as a chair umpire, as a referee, I made a lot of mistakes, and the best officials learn from their mistakes. So I think that's something to always remember. If an official comes back and says they've done a 100% perfect job, they haven't learnt anything, they can't find a way as to how to improve themselves, they're not that good an official. The good official is constantly learning and can acknowledge when you've made a mistake and learn from that mistake, and that's how you become a better official.
Thank you, Donna. That should be a mentor.
I am.
Okay, we've never run out of time, but there is one last question, guys, and I'm going to throw to you too because you've been through the NOS program. The message on personal care for these officials to be the best they can be. Start with you, Donna. Reflecting on what you learned through the NOS program, that you would pass on even to junior beginning athletes the importance of self-care.
You've got to be yourself. You can't be somebody else or somebody that you look up to. You've got to be yourself. If you're not yourself, you're not going to officiate to the best of your own ability. Yes, you take advice from everywhere you can. Use what's best for you and discard the rest. If it doesn't work what you've used, then maybe go back to what you discarded and try that. But as you go along, you will find out what's best for you and for your officiating future.
Self-care. I think it's, if I'm talking to officials, basically you need to have confidence, self-confidence, belief that you can do the job and do the job well. Make sure, for me, for swimming, make sure that the swimmers are given every opportunity to perform in accordance with the rules. Don't take on too much information from other people. Everyone wants to give you advice. I think you need to limit listening to just a few choice people because otherwise you'll run the risk. If you listen to 4 different people for swimming, they'll say, this person will say you're blowing your whistle too long, too short, too soft, too loud. So don't try and listen to everybody. So be resilient, have confidence, and make sure at the end of the day you close the book. Don't linger on things that may have happened or may not have happened or could happen. So.
Good advice, thanks. Guys, can you please thank Alan and Josh for